Hello and welcome to Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. I'm your host, Phillip, and I'm here with my co-op partner, Nave. Each pod we play through a cooperative experience and relate to you, the listener, if this game is the creme de la creme of co-op or something better off playing solo. Alright, did that sound better that time?
Yeah, totally fine. Acceptable.
Okay. So now that we're done rehearsing the intro, how you doing, Nave?
The intro we've done 22 times.
Yeah.
That we still can't manage to do. I'm doing pretty good. It's super late. I didn't realize we were recording today. Well, the thing is, we can talk about this in a minute, but we've got a lot of stuff going on. Well, I don't have a lot of stuff going on. I just happen to have stuff going on tomorrow. We can talk about that in a minute.
Which, Nave, when I said 7 o'clock, I meant 7 o'clock.
I don't even know where you said 7 o'clock at.
I think I said it last night before we got off. I was like, 7 o'clock good? And you were like, yeah, sure, bro.
Yeah, you should have put it in words on paper somewhere.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'll be sure to submit it on our Gaming Together memo pad next time. All right, so I feel like we should clear up, like top of the news. So what's going on tomorrow?
Oh, I'm going to see a podcast live. What?
A live podcast?
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. Last podcast on the left. They're going to talk about serial killers and UFOs and stuff. Might get a little wasted, scream loudly.
Yeah, that's usually how those shows go, right?
I don't know. I've never been to a podcast. I didn't even know podcasts did things live like this. So
I think a lot of podcasts actually do it. Like one of my favorite, what was it? If I Were You. Like half of their shows are live, and they just do it in like bars and stuff.
Oh, really? I think Sacred Symbols just recently did something live too, but I think that was their first time ever. So.
All right, well, let's keep this moving. So, as for me, I'm going to be pretty much unavailable for the next week or so as I'm moving all the way to Texas. And I've been talking about this move for a while, and it's finally happening.
Yeah, you're going to be closer to the old Nave.
Which I'm not sure when this episode's coming out.
It's going to be next Friday, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, so it doesn't matter because this is going to be evergreen.
Yeah, whatever it happens.
It'll be later on.
Yep.
It'll be after the episode coming out in like 3 hours.
Yeah, and instead of saying, hello and welcome to Gaming Together, we'll have to start saying howdy and welcome.
Yeah, how do you do, partner?
Yep. All right, well, let's get to the games because we are a gaming podcast. So, Nave, what you been playing?
So I've been hopelessly addicted. Yakuza 6, obviously. I'm still playing Yakuza and stuff every day. But I've been hopelessly addicted to this fucking shitty mobile game. So on Snapchat, I didn't even know this was a thing. You know how like Facebook, you can have like Facebook games and shit? Well, Snapchat has that as well now, apparently. It's probably been a thing for like 7 years, and I'm just like an old person just now discovering it. But Maddie played a game called Animal Restaurant, and it popped up in my Snapchat feed. I only talked to like 2 people on Snapchat anyways. I saw that and I clicked on it, just not knowing what it was. I assumed it was going to be like a little emoji or something, and it ended up being a full-fledged game where it's just cats running a restaurant, like poorly drawn cats.
Like Overcooked?
No, because it's a mobile game, so it's like building tables and then they're slowly accruing value. You know what I mean? So it's a game where numbers get exponentially higher.
Oh, nice.
And so I got trapped into one of these again, and I've been playing it for 4 days, like nonstop. My eyes are always glancing down at my phone. I was doing it right just now, but I realized my phone's at 8%, and it runs my battery dead pretty fast. But
it's probably all the Bitcoin mining in the background.
Yeah, something's going on. You watch advertisements and it's like you'll get double the fish. Fish is the currency. And I'm like, double the fish. And so I watch that 15-second ad and just like do something else. And I've watched like maybe 600 ads in these 4 days. Like I've gotten these guys so much money. Like they're getting paid off of me.
Well, at least you're enjoying the game, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm enjoying it. I actually don't think I'm enjoying it at all. But I'm making a lot of fish. So
I mean, I guess it's got to be worth it then. Speaking of, if you're not sure if you're enjoying a game, so I beat Hades, or at least my first run of Hades, over the last week or so. And I was telling myself, look, these roguelike games, they just keep going. So I need to beat it once, have my peace, and uninstall the game. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep playing it like I did with The Binding of Isaac, like I did with... I didn't really get super into Enter the Gungeon, but Slay the Spire was probably my ultimate like kryptonite for a long time.
What about Darkest Dungeon? How far did you get in that?
Darkest Dungeon. I almost feel like that's not a roguelike though.
It's a little,
A little bit. It's got some elements,
because it's like not
but
not like you're permanently dying, but your characters permanently die. You know,
yeah,
like
but
it kind of
that's
flirts
just a
with
game
it.
with permadeath, you know. But I told myself,
And intense randomization.
yeah,
Anyway,
I told myself I was not gonna, go all into Hades. But then it was like the next day after I beat it, I just started up another run because I like that was the thing was like I'm only gonna do one run a day so that I'm not diving too deep into this.
that's kind of what Colin Moriarty did with Returnal. He just played one run a day, just like he had already beaten it, but he was just trying to get the all the trophies. I think he
Yeah,
probably gave up because they're like super crazy random and rare. Like you have to like accidentally stumble upon like audio logs or something, and he just keeps getting the same fucking ones. Like, which is that sounds like it would drive me up the wall too. I wouldn't. There's no way. I can't do that anymore. Maybe if I was a kid, I could do that with all the time in the world.
which I want to see. Like, can you guess what my go-to weapon was that I finally beat the game with? Was
Shield.
shield? No, man, it was the spear.
Spear is tight, dude.
Spear is so OP. Yeah, it's very good.
Were you getting the hammer upgrade that makes it like throw and blow up, or what were you using?
I did have that upgrade actually. I had that upgrade, and then I had a lot of basic attack upgrades that did an extra strike. And then it was like I just had the perfect storm of it was like your normal strikes will knock back. Then I got the Neptune upgrade that was like if you knock back a boss, they take a bonus like 40% damage. Then I got the one that's like you get extra bonus like normal strikes. So I was striking the bosses and my basic attacks were just doing bonkers damage.
I know the listeners can't hear, but I'm sitting here taking notes because I haven't beaten the game yet. I keep getting to
Oh
Hades
my
and
god.
dying.
Yeah, but that was just it. Is I was able to burst them down so fast.
That sounds strange to me because I find every single, maybe it's just my playstyle, but every single time I have a build that's like primarily basic attack focused, I have a horrible fight with Hades every single time. If I have to like a basic attack, a lot of my best runs that I've ever had usually had something on my dash actually, like some kind of really good dash
Yeah, like
damage
Blade Storm.
booster. Yeah, so like that you get from Ares, yeah, I will dash and just keep moving around like that and maybe hitting the Y button occasionally when I feel it's safe, but I'm usually just
Yeah.
hiding permanently because I always find the moment I stop, I just get hit by like those green things, the waves that go. I know you can break those skulls, but the way that I fight that boss fight, it's really hard because it's like I'm not trying to stop because I'll die usually instantly.
Oh, that was the other thing is I had the love goddess ability where you charm them, and combine that with I had the Zeus bonus that was like you could only ever have one charge on your ultimate or your call, but you got call over time, and so I would get a full call like every maybe 10 seconds.
That sounds crazy.
So I was just dashing, auto attacking, and then firing off the charm, which would stun him. Like it would charm him to fight for me, but there was usually no other enemies. And he's like resistant anyways. So it would stun him for like 2 seconds. He would just stand there, and I would just go in and stab repeatedly. And it worked really well.
I didn't even know he could be stunned. That's crazy.
Well, he's technically charmed, not stunned, but
Yeah. Well, I meant, you guys know what I mean.
Which this game, whenever I first played it, I'm like, this feels like ADC the game. And I think that goes right into the other game you have listed here.
Yakuza or League?
Yeah, not Yakuza.
I don't know. Well, because that was the next game, but I could
No,
talk about League.
you already mentioned it. You said you were playing it every day.
I could talk about it. I am playing the shit out of Yakuza 6. It's so good. I forgot
Yeah,
how
I
good.
saw you were on chapter 6 already.
Yeah, I'm blazing through this game. I'm doing all the side stuff and I'm just blazing through it like crazy. So the game, this is how the Yakuza games as far as engines go. Um the first two games were on the same engine. This might be wrong. This is pretty close though. The first two games were on the same engine, right? And they got remade, but we'll talk about it in a minute. So Yakuza 3, 4, and 5 are on the same engine on the PS3. Then Yakuza 6 is on its own engine. It's on the same engine as Kiwami 2. It's the two newest games in this like saga. Like, cause Yakuza 7 is like a soft reboot, and then the Judgment games are like a spin-off series. Anyway, 6 and Kiwami 2 are the newest games, and then Yakuza 0 and Kiwami 1 are both on the same engine. Like they're like mid steps between 5 and 6. You know what I mean? So, but the engine that's on 6 is so absurd because like I tried to go chronologically as the games go. if you play that way like I'm playing, you just go really modern game, fucking amazing, fantastic game with Kwame 2, and then you get 3, which is the worst performing game out of all of them because it's the oldest, and then 5, and then 6, just slowly kind of getting better, and then you get to when you get to 6, it's like an absurd jump in quality because of like the difference, and like all of the games besides Kiwami 2 and 6, when you want to go into a store, you have to press A, loading screen, you're in the store, get the thing,
Loading screen.
press
Yeah,
A, leave.
back out.
In this game, you just walk into the store. You just walk in, you open the door, you're in there, and it's like beautiful. You can go into first person mode and walk around, so you can go into this place called Don Quixote, and it's like a supermarket kind of thing, like a supermarket corner store, and like you can just walk around and just look at stuff, and it's like photorealistic everything around. It's like, I mean, it's like low poly photorealism, you know what I mean?
Yeah, tell them about that low poly
But
fruit.
it looks so cool. I'm just like it's like, look, they sell batteries right next to the pillows here, and then there's dressers on this shelf. Like, what the fuck's going on? It's a really like, and then like right around the corner, there's like Sailor Girl and schoolgirl outfits for adults. I'm like, whoa, what's going on in Japan? I feel like I'm there. If only it was VR.
Oh my god. Maybe one day.
Yakuza is very good. And there's so many twists and turns in this game that there's so many. The writing's so good. All the side quests are fully voice acted and stuff again, or the main side quests are like fully voice acted, and like they have like compelling acting and stuff like that. I mean, of course it's in Japanese, so it could just be shit acting, and I don't know because I don't speak Japanese. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, League of Legends. I've been playing that all day. You were waiting on me to get off of that, and I'm sorry. I didn't understand the scope of the situation we were in until as soon as we were already in the last game, and I was like, ugh, I need to get out of this fucking game. And of course, my friends are like, one more, that was so good. I'm like, I can't do it. My friend's mad. I've got to go.
Well, apology accepted. But that's usually how those Earth matches go. They turn the big slug outs at the end. That are total creams in the first 5 minutes.
That was the way it was going at first. We were just annihilating them, and then we just started screwing around. That's just a standard league match.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Your guard goes down. Well, the thing was is they were all tanky, so it just was like, I was Viger, so I would just obliterate someone and then die, which is what Vigers tend to do. And then there would just be a slugfest with all the tanks, and we had like a Soraka on our team. It was just awful, but it was great. It was a really good match. We were never like afraid of losing. We just never could push fast enough because in Earth we were, I don't know if I mentioned, but we're playing ultra rapid fire. But in Earth mode at the spawn fountain there are cannons, and you can go halfway across the map, which makes it hard. You're winning at like the 11-minute mark, so your death timer is like 5 or 6 seconds. Like, it is not enough time to fucking push the wave down and get to that
Yeah.
turret before they're already spawning and jumping behind you. And you're like, well, now we're in between the. If it was a normal game, you could easily take that turret, but now that you have that cannon, you can just jump behind and flank them super hard. But it's a fun game mode. It's really goofy and not serious until it is serious.
Yeah, that's what I like about it too. It's Mario Party League of Legends.
Yeah, I always have to go back for Earth.
Or more like Mario Kart almost.
My friend Victor, that's who I was playing with, and one of my new friends I just recently made.
Wait, is this Victor from the League of Legends episode?
Yeah, this is Victor from the League of Legends episode. He was like, "What the hell? Nave's online right now? What's wrong? What's going on?" And then he looked and saw it was Earth. The Earth was out. He's like, "Oh, of course, of course, he's back for Earth."
Playing the clown game.
It's also Earth that you get to pick your own champion, so it's even better.
Oh, good. Yeah, better than the one for all
There's
Earth.
a lot less feel bad. Yeah. Well, also the random Earth, AR Earth.
Oh yeah,
I honestly would probably play all for one Earth more over AR Earth, because AR Earth has some serious feel bads. When everyone uses all their rerolls and no one got good champions, and then the enemy team has, and it's because the enemy team has all the good champions, like Lux and
Lux is my first thought. Lux is just broken
Lux,
good.
Viger, and Soraka's super annoying, and there are we saw a Jhin almost every single match. I don't know what that was about, but he's very strong. I don't know what the hell is going on with him, but he will annihilate you early game. Like, I was like,
oh yeah,
League of Legends is fun.
Yeah, I think that's all I've been playing, so it looks like we're moving right along. Let's take a quick break and we can hit our game. We're actually moving really fast.
Yeah, that was really fast.
Hi guys, if you're enjoying this awesome episode of Gaming Together, then you might like Dimp Digital's flagship show, Idle Game Chat. Have a listen as we discuss PlayStation's communication woes. The trouble is, once again, Sony, and particularly whenever Jim Ryan gets a fucking interview going, he chats shit and then has to walk it back or it just sounds awful. And that's the biggest problem that I've seen with Sony since the PS5 is the communication has been poor. You've got Phil on the other side, loving life. He come out and said it. Do you remember? He went, "We're going to be supporting it for at least a couple of years." And everyone went, "Oh, you cunt." Now we're not sitting here in 2021 going, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Yeah.
What are you doing to us?
Yeah, he's already had his ass slapped.
He's had his ass slapped and moved on, and people have forgotten about it. Whereas now, Jim's had to deal with this. So if you like the sound of that, just search for Idle Game Chat wherever you consume your podcasts. That's Idle Game Chat.
Hey everybody, and welcome to your favorite show about classic cartoons from the 80s and 90s. It's Knowing is Half the Podcast.
Join Ray Stacanis,
Hi!
Robert Clark Chan,
Ugh.
and me, Gina Ippolito, as we explore the worst and the best, but mostly the worst that children's animation has to offer.
Now, I know what you're thinking, but why would I, a grown-ass adult, want to revisit my childhood during this time of strife and turmoil, when everything is literally on fire?
Hey, isn't this going to sound kind of dated and weird when the world actually calms down?
We're all gonna die.
We've got nearly 500 episodes covering everything from the awesomeness of the entire 80s Sunbow series G.I. Joe, to the weirdness of Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue, to the weirdness of Hey Arnold, to the weirdness of Chuck Norris and the Karate Commando.
Okay, Gina, they get it.
They spelled commandos with a K.
Knowing is Half the Podcast. Find it on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
If it was in your butt, you'd know.
Is there a tagline?
And we're back. All right, so we were supposed to have a guest, and he couldn't make it today, so that's a little unfortunate. But he was going to be like a Warhammer tabletop expert. He plays a lot of that, and I'm very sad that he couldn't make it. But we had a lot of extraneous, or what is it? What's the circumstances? Extenuating circumstances? Something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to sound smart.
With you having plans tomorrow. Yeah. And I'm literally trying to pack up the whole house.
Yeah. Well, so you were texting me in Discord. It doesn't matter where you were texting me because everyone that knows me personally knows that I'm like the fucking worst at looking at my phone. But
You really are. I've never seen someone as bad as you.
I just don't think about it. But the message you left me that was like we have to do it today or tomorrow. I was in the loading screen and I was like, what's tomorrow? Friday, the day I'm not going to be home. And I was like, oh shit. Oh no. This is going to be a late one again. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, because I was under the impression that we had until next like Wednesday. I was like, there's so much time, so we should easily be able to get my friend in. Didn't work out that way. But the game we're talking about is Vermintide. Warhammer Vermintide 2. Phillip,
Yes.
did you play the first game?
I did at one point. I don't remember where I played it. It might even be a free game for gold, maybe, or something like that. But I remember playing it and thinking it was Warhammer 2. Or Vermintide 2, excuse me. And I'm like, this game looks old. I'm not sure when exactly the first one came out. Oh, we have it right here. I wrote it down. 2015 was the original one. This one, the second game, came out 2018.
You know what I just fucking realized?
What?
I thought you made like in our notes, we might not keep this in there, but in the notes, I thought you made a grid and like made it all pretty and shit. And I'm like,
Are you crazy?
I was like, because recently you were just on the Pokemon podcast and they're like, wow, you made the notes so professional. So I thought that was getting to your head, Phillip, because I thought you're like, I'm going to make the notes extra professional. But really it's just a screenshot of Wikipedia and then pasted, which is sensible. But I at first glance, I thought you made a graph. I was like, I didn't even know you could do that in Google Docs.
You probably can. I don't know how, though. But if you scroll down, I actually just threw a bunch of screenshots in here.
I saw. These are obviously screenshots.
Last time I made the notes, I was like, I really wish I put screenshots in there. Anyways.
How hard was that to do? Easy?
Easy. It's just whenever I came into the PC version, or like the webpage version, it was completely sized proportionally terribly. So I had to resize everything.
Yeah, that was like whenever you did the screenshot of William doing our first write-in, or was it? It wasn't William, it was Jacob, but it was the screenshot of that, and it was just took up like a page and a half. It was just an enormous image.
That's how this one was too. I had to scale it down so it was still readable. But yeah. So, Nave, before we hit Vermintide 2 too much. What's your experience with Warhammer as a franchise?
Little to none. Every single time I was experiencing the Warhammer uh, metaverse or whatever, multiverse, it was unconscious. I was not like thinking about Warhammer or even aware that it was Warhammer at all. The person that I was trying to get on was the person who introduced me to Warhammer, the universe, and I looked into it because I wasn't like balls deep into Magic the Gathering yet, but he would go to the same game shop that we played Magic at to play Warhammer, and it's just like a tabletop
It's
game
a
show.
miniatures war game. Get it right, Nave.
No, I was saying the store is just like a tabletop game store, like for
Okay.
any card game or anything like that. There's just a bunch of tables all over the place, and you just are able to stay there, like a public library or something. But anyway, yeah, he was trying to get me into that, and I looked into it and realized there's a bunch of games that I've played before that are in the Warhammer universe, and most of which I can't name off the top of my head. But the ones that stand out to me are Blood Bowl and Vermintide.
Yeah.
Those are the main ones.
Which, one thing we might point out that's just notable about the Warhammer franchise, it's owned by, what's it called, like Forge or something like that. I forgot the company. It's like, Games Workshop. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They make a lot of miniatures. That's like their whole thing. But what's kind of significant about it is they're not really game developers, but instead they license out the Warhammer, basically IP to all these different game studios. So you can play a Warhammer game that's content is insanely different, just completely made by a whole different publisher, different developer, and have a completely different experience. And I think that is something Star Wars should really think about more instead of just keeping it all EA. You know what I'm saying?
They are doing that with the KOTOR remake.
Oh, good. Who's doing the KOTOR? Oh, is it BioWare's?
It is not BioWare. It is, unfortunately, it looks like a bad company.
Oh,
Bad company. It
someone
looks like one
probably
of those.
never heard of.
Yeah, with like some questionable people working. There's like some controversy about that, but never mind. Never mind that.
Yeah, let's talk about the company that made this one. Fat Shark, a Swedish game developer. I did not get the lead developer's name on this one, so I'm sorry, Fat Shark developer.
I'm sure they'll live. Definitely won me over with the name. I'm definitely like already paying attention.
But as of this year in January, they were actually bought out, or majority control was bought by Tencent. Surprise.
And you lost me.
Yeah, they are now, I think it was like 30 to 40% of their company is now owned by Tencent, which is apparently the majority share.
Yeah, well, you win some, you lose some. We lose a little bit more than we would like. But
You gotta love that free economy, right? So these guys are kind of notable, as in they made the first Warhammer, of course. And Nave, did you ever play the War of Roses games?
I think I might have. Were they like Dynasty Warriors knockoffs? Because that's what's in my head.
I remember they
Something
were
like that.
big, kind of whenever they came out back in 2012, because it was like a big Steam release, and they were like, "This is gonna be like the next Call of Duty but medieval," you know?
Okay, I'm definitely not thinking of the same game then.
Okay, I guess we kind of missed out on that one then. But what about Bionic Commando Rearmed? Did you get that one?
I definitely saw that game in GameStop for like $10 or $5
Yeah,
a lot.
it was one of the ones that was always on the shelf, right?
Yeah, and there's just a bunch of them.
Yeah, same. And so that kind of shows the pedigree of developer we're working with. They make some kind of questionable games that come from IPs they probably were lucky to get the rights to.
I'm surprised to see Escape Dead Island on here. That hurts.
Oh, I forgot about, we had a whole thing about Dead Island. Old
Yeah.
Zombie Island.
Everything about Dead Island just makes me cringe into my torso.
So one thing I do want to point out is they have another Warhammer game coming out in 2022. It's a Warhammer 40K, which Warhammer is a fantasy series. Warhammer 40K is a sci-fi fantasy series.
Yeah, that's the one I always think of whenever I think of Warhammer.
Really?
40K. I always get them mixed up. I didn't realize that until like very recently that they were separate things.
Well, I mean, they're the same universe. It's just one's, 40,000 years in the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, because when I think of Warhammer, I always think of like Space Marines.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
I always think about
There was a Warhammer Space Marine game.
the orcs.
Aren't the orcs in 40K as well?
Yeah, but I always think of like the old orcs because they ride in, little motorcycles and they call themselves the big boys and stuff like that. They're they're big boys. That's their whole thing.
There was, on the 360 era, there was a Warhammer Space Marine game, and I vividly remember when I first saw the case, I bought it. It was cheap. I think it was like $15. But I was like, what is this guy? It was just has a Space Marine on the front. It's like 2 Gears of War cog soldiers put together side by side, and then they put armor around that. That's how big these guys look.
These guys have some wide armor, which I did want to point out one thing. Whenever I first started playing this game, Jana was watching me, and I'm like, oh, what do you think of this game? And she's like, what is going on? Because of how weird the world of Warhammer is. Because like we're fighting rat monsters. We have a Witcher who looks like a pilgrim teaming up with a guy that looks like a, what is he? Like a musketeer maybe? Or he looks like a Spaniard.
It's like a mercenary, kind of.
But he looks like he's wearing like old Spanish armor from when they came to the New World, next to like a wood elf or something. Like they are just clashing genres all the way back and forth.
There's also a dwarf, and then someone who we never really got to see unless we got a random to join. There was a pyromancer lady, like a really old woman, and because this game, I don't know if you noticed in the pause menu, but it has the priority of who you want as your NPCs. And
no, I didn't know you could set that.
So you must have had the pyromancer all the way at the bottom, because we always had the Witcher and the dwarf in our party.
Which is
fine. I liked.
Yeah, I really developed a connection to Victor, the Witcher.
I don't remember any of their names.
There's Victor.
I know my name's Carillion, and that's only because, I played the elf Carillion, and I think it's Carillion, but we played the DLC. There's like a free DLC, or maybe it's just free with Game Pass, which, by the way, by the time you listen to this episode, it's going to not be in Game Pass anymore. So we might mention that a couple times, but it's not in Game Pass anymore. So disregard that. But in that DLC, in the very last mission, my character was constantly getting whispered to, like Dead Space 3 style, where I'm the only one that hears it, and then my character, like, it'll be like, you killed your brethren, you betrayed them, Carillion, and she'd be like, no, please stop, and then someone would be like, what was that? Did you say something? It was pretty cool, actually, because I was like, Phillip, do you hear someone talking to you, ever? And he's just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. But then he randomly heard me say something, and then the dwarf go, why do you keep talking like that?
Yeah, which that's a bit deeper. We seem to be ready to get into the meat of it. So this game is a Left 4 Dead clone, I would say. But with the Warhammer setting, they really were able to make it their own.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, actually. Like, anyone who likes Left 4 Dead, get on this game as soon as possible. This is probably the best Left 4 Dead clone.
Did I say World of Warcraft? Warhammer.
Did you? I don't know. I probably auto-translated it if you did say that.
Probably going to say that more than once. Warhammer, not Warcraft. Anyways, so there's 4 adventurers. They go into a set campaign level, and you just got to make it to the safe room or the safety bubble. That's all at the other end. But what made this game different is you would level up as you were playing. And like you said, you played as the wood elf Kerrigan or something.
Do you have him written
down? No, I did not.
Carillion.
I didn't write this down. Because my character's name was Kruger, I think, or McKruger.
I know you were mercenary, because when you hit back, every single character has like 3 different classes and a 4th DLC class. And then whenever you hit back, you see their gamer tag, and then you see what class they are, and it would always say mercenary because you never changed. Like, mine was Shade. I just remember those 2, and so that's how I remembered who was who. I just knew you as mercenary.
Which, with the characters you play through, didn't really matter, because one thing we put out in as far as like kind of interesting game mechanics were the characters doing different call-outs to each other. Like in Left 4 Dead, based on the character's current health levels, how you guys were doing in the mission, how fast you're moving, your characters would have different little stories they would say. Like Ellis would tell a story to Nick, talking about, be like, oh, I remember I had my buddy, he always had a buddy. And he's like, back in the day, we'd go to the swamp and we'd crash dune buggies into each other. And it was in a place just like this. And then Nick would be like, I hate swamps. And then that would be the end of it.
Well, those weren't really call-outs. That's just banter.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it would be specific to the characters.
Yeah. I thought you were saying, like with call-outs, like, pills here, except it was always like, there's some gross green shit over there. If you want to drink it, it tastes terrible.
Well, I mean, I feel like these characters really didn't do that many call-outs. Like, we could ping things, but it wouldn't do the pills here thing. Well,
I feel like they were constantly calling out. Like always. They'd be like medical supplies, and I'd be like, where's it?
Oh,
I need
yeah.
that.
Or when we walk the right way, the characters would call out, "We're going to have to jump down here," as we were already jumping down.
Yeah, which really actually helped. That's something we might get into later, but like it's really hard to get lost in this game.
I got very lost on one DLC level.
We literally were talking about how awesome the level design is because we never get lost, and then you got the most lost that I feel like you could have possibly ever gotten, and somehow never died. You had to like purposefully kill yourself.
And I couldn't. I tried to kill myself first, but the dwarf, the AI, was still with me, and he wouldn't leave. So he saved me whenever I tried to kill myself. I'm like, just let me die.
What were we talking about? Oh, the callouts. Yeah, so like you'd like walk through a door, and it'd be like, "This is the way. This is the door." It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Also, they would call out like the special infecteds as well, and they would always refer to them as different names, because it's like in the I don't know in Left 4 Dead, but I feel like they always were like, "There's a tank or a witch or something." But in this game, they'd be like, "There's a spitter over there," and it would be like a rattling gun guy. But like they would say something like I think there's an assassin somewhere, but it's like not called the assassin. It's called like something completely different, like the gutter runner or something.
Yeah.
It's like confusing
Which
itself.
this goes right into all the different rat flavors. So it's called Vermintide because the vermin are the Skaven, and they are.
You're gonna say the vermin are the tide.
No, well, I mean, I think that's supposed to be the connection. Is like they're overrunning everything. These rat people are just scurrying out of their little skitter gates and skitter holes to just wipe out all the humans. And it seems to be end times, and it looks like they're winning. And I didn't know this, but that's the whole kind of point. Apparently, in the first game, at the end, your characters get captured by Ratsnick, or whatever the lead rat is. He captures you, and then you guys escape, and that is the beginning of this game. And while everything's like destroyed.
Yeah, that's like the tutorial level.
Yeah, like I completely forgot the tutorial level. Apparently, you remember it better than I did, because I just remember there being like a castle or something.
I don't know, because I think it was like I played it on the PC and I don't remember the tutorial, but when I played it on the Xbox again, I was like, "What in the hell is this?" It's like, is there a story to this game? And
There
then
is a story.
yeah, well, it's like Left 4 Dead has a story loosely.
Yeah.
Feels like, or Quake.
Yeah, the Quake lore dump. That dude, that's it. Like at the very beginning, they have like a dwarf, I think, reading the lore of an area. Like, all right, no, it's not the dwarf. It's the guy that's at your little home hub base. And he's like, I need you to go in there and rescue as many people from the farm as it's burning down as you can.
I don't know if I remember. Oh, like the guy. Yeah, okay, never mind.
Yeah, the guy that works at the counter. He's the one that
Yeah.
reads to you.
For some reason, I just completely erased the first half of that sentence, and then so I thought you were talking about like a farmer in there, and I'm like, pretty sure it was specifically like, "There's no survivors here." Every time we joined
Yeah.
the beginning of the map.
Which that puts it, 4 people against the whole level. Like you never get any assistance in this game.
What's interesting is that there's 5 characters, but only 4 make it. It's like a 4-player co-op game. There is just one more layer of variance, which is something that we'll talk about, I think, once we get into a little deeper into the mechanics, I guess.
Yeah. By the way, you hit, like when you mentioned the gutter runners and the rattling guns, you talked about some of the rat flavors. Did you have a favorite rat flavor?
I like the there's one that has a stick. It's like the equivalent of the smoker. But the smoker can stand 7 million light years away and then hit you with his tongue and pull you in. This guy has a stick like a dog catcher, and he
He's a
has
dog
to
catcher
run at
ball.
you and get like within striking distance to grab you by your neck, and then he drags you away. And you would be surprised how often this guy makes it. It's like he's at a concert and he's pushing his way up to the front of the stage. You know what I mean? This rat catcher makes it sometimes and grabs you in the middle of all your team, and everyone's too busy trying to not get hurt by the tide of vermin.
Yeah, good job.
Will not
Good
be
job.
the first time that joke is made. But it's hilarious because they run, even while they're dragging you, they run slightly faster than you, it feels like, and you're getting caught on geometry and shit. So if you do not
And
have
other rats.
if you do not have any ranged arrows or whatever, bullets, which is common, unlike Left 4 Dead, which is primarily firearm based and ranged attack based, this game is primarily melee based. You will run out of ammo all the time. But if you do not have ammo, which is, again, like I said, common, this guy's going to take damage as he's getting dragged along, and it's almost always funny.
And then, like, once he gets them like away from the group, he will stab one end of the dog catcher pole into the ground and hoist you up in the air, and you will just dangle there while the rats attack you.
It's kind of like, it reminds me of the Dead by Daylight game, how like the killer will hang you up by a meat hook or something. It's like that.
I haven't played that one.
I might be getting the game wrong. Might be a different game.
Well, my favorite rats were the armored rats, or the storm knights, or something like that. Storm vermin. That sounds right.
It definitely felt like there were different tiers, like
Of the red knights.
well, of the special rats, you know, like
Oh, yeah.
it felt like they were the super special ones, like the Gatling ones and stuff, and then they were like the red knights and the green boys and the guys that are like that. Or like when we breach into the chaos dudes, there was the executioner looking guy, like anyone that would pop up on the side that registers that you killed them. But it's like, that's kind of strange that guy.
Well, they had specials and they had elites. I think the red ones were elites
That makes
compared
sense, I
to
guess.
the specials. But these guys, they had armor, which in this game you have lots of variation, like we mentioned before, in choosing your arsenal. You can have a shotgun that fires a very widespread but low penetrating rounds, so any armored enemies will just ting off of them. Or you can get a rifle that can pierce through armored enemies,
Well,
as far as
that
like guns go.
specifically is for your character, the mercenary guy,
Okay,
because
yeah.
I always had short bows, long bows, and crossbows, and maybe
Okay,
something
that's
else.
interesting.
Yeah, and so I don't know what the other characters had. I know the mage she just shoots fire out of her staff. I don't know if she just has magic or something.
And then you say like most of the armored enemies, your bow would just bounce off.
Yeah. So on your characters, what did you do when you held the left trigger down? Because usually on my bow, it meant I drew back the arrow really far, and that's how I was able to get through armor. But if you just hit right trigger naturally, like firing from the hip, you just pop arrows out, and it does enough damage usually.
If it's a shotgun, it's just a melee. I get to push back enemies.
Yeah, you are screwed on as Carillion, as the elf. If people start swarming you and you have your bow out, you will take at least 5 or 6 lumps before you get your weapon back out.
Which I always saw them and I'm like, all right, the red guy's finally a challenging enemy. Because it's so funny again, like the red guys run up to you and just start slapping the crap out of you with their giant spears. And I'm like, oh, Nave, you're so silly. Then I pull out my rifle with piercing bullets and I would just gun them down. I remember one point, like I would always just look out for them and I would save my guns for them because I knew I could kill them with it. And like we were riding down an elevator and we saw like 5 of them lined up at the bottom of the elevator, and I was just like pop 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 pop, just like shooting down the elevator, and you're like, dang, that was like some Scarface stuff.
Oh, I remember that. Because they weren't even able to fight us yet because we haven't dropped all the way down. It was really funny because they just all died instantly. Like, it was great. The thing with did you have to, I assume you had to reload, right?
Yeah, the reloading was very long and I pretty much would just switch to melee weapons.
The bows never reloaded, but the crossbow did, which meant like every time I got a crossbow that had more power than my bows, I would just not use it. I was like, I can't. This reload is terrible. I gotten so acclimated to just being able to Legolas the
Yeah.
fucking shit out of these rats like that. That was right? Legolas is the elf in Star Wars.
Yeah,
Lord of
which
the Rings.
it's funny you bring that up because based on the like Lord of the Rings movies, where they're just like these super cool heroes just saying witty one-liners and just cutting through thousands of orcs. That's what this game feels like, because you are slaughtering, you are just destroying armies of rats, and they're just going up into bloody little giblets the whole time you're fighting them. And it got to
Speaking
points
of-
where like, yeah, go ahead. It got to a point where like when you're fighting them, I would say like I can't even see anything because you would get blood splatter on your screen, and they would just go into like a blood cloud when we're all standing there just swinging our weapons, just cheese into the cheese grater.
Which, speaking of what this game feels like, that was probably one of the most common phrases we said as we progressed through the very lengthy campaign. You get a lot of shit you get a lot of shit to play through in this game, just in the standalone, like non DLC version. But we would constantly be playing in a level, and I'd be like, you know what this place makes me think of? Dark Souls. or
Yeah, we did that a lot.
there were so many games. It's like, this place makes me want to play Dragon Age Origins, or this place makes me want to watch Scooby Doo. You know what I mean? Like, it was always something. There was
Which-
like a long list of games too, and it
Yeah.
felt like most levels were so distinct that they evoked memories of different games altogether.
They definitely had the spirit of a history of gaming. Like, these were developed by developers that, while mostly it looks like their work is very,
Mediocre
I don't
at
know,
best.
less than stellar, like, kind of just like, yeah, they made games, but none of these were hits.
Wait a minute, you're telling me you don't like Hamilton's Great Adventure?
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. It sounds like a movie tie-in game.
Or Letting Gold, Gangs of the Wild West.
What about Crater with a K?
Yeah, see, these are games we've never heard of. And I'm sure they're fine.
I don't know.
Maybe?
I don't know. I don't know. Warhammer's Vermintide is very good.
Yeah,
Like,
see, that's what I'm saying. Is this game is really
it sounded
good.
like we were crapping on it at the beginning.
And like I mentioned, Warhammer 40K, their new game coming out. I am very excited to see what they do with it because it's going to be another Vermintide, 4-player co-op.
Oh, is that what it is? That's fucking
Yeah.
sweet. So it's just Vermintide, but in the 40K universe.
Yeah,
instead?
they said it's going to be more balanced on the ammo as far as like weapon usage. They say you're going to be using guns about 50% of the time now because they put out like a developer like Ask Me Anything or whatever for the game, and one thing they were asked is like, hey, what's up with the resource usage? In Vermintide, you run out of ammo in every fight if you even use your weapon.
Yeah. The Carillion, like her longbow has only like 13 or 14 arrows, and it's like you're shooting them fast. Like you're emptying your quiver probably not even a eighth of the way through the horde before you're
Yeah, we
fighting
would-
them with your sword.
Just in one mission, we would kill close to 2,000 rats probably across all 4 players, maybe a little less.
We were killing tons. Like
Yeah, like
and
over
that's the
1,000
thing,
of these guys.
we keep saying rats, but rats are only one like
Enemy
clan?
variant.
I don't know, like
Yeah,
enemy
there's
type.
rats, and then there's the chaos knights.
Yeah, and there's also a third one in that different area where they're like goat people.
Oh, the
demon people.
beastmen. Yeah,
Yeah, like minotaurs or something. But we didn't really
Which
get a lot of
we-
experience with them.
yeah. We are not Warhammer lore experts. Most of my lore comes from
Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl and Magikarp Use Fly. You ever watch him?
I used to a lot back when he did League of Legends videos. I don't know if he
Yeah, he
still
doesn't
does.
do that anymore.
I
Now
don't- I
he
didn't
does Warhammer full plays, where he plays the tabletop game, and I'll just like put it on in the background. Like I'm not like actively watching, but I like to see the figures.
I like to see the figures.
Yeah, I'm like,
It
because
sounds like
it looks so
people
cool.
people who buy Magic cards for the art and they don't play, they just like looking at it. Which the art's fucking
I
great.
almost feel that way about Pokemon cards.
Dude, there's no card game that's better than Magic the Gathering's art. There's some shit that I'm like, I will spend 80, $100 just to get this like on my wall in like a print. Like there's anyone looking into Magic the Gathering art, type in Seb McKinnon. I know that's as a matter of fact, there's a YouTube video we can link right now. It's a Seb, not right now, but Seb McKinnon art breakdown, kind of like his style and everything. And I can't remember who it is, but he's on my, I think it's Ristic Studies while my YouTube is loading up. Ristic Studies, Seb McKinnon.
Never heard of him.
Well,
Is he the one that
Ristic-
plays Man in the Box while he's in a box?
No, that's Chain Brain. Yeah, Seb McKinnon Ristic Studies is the YouTube channel is Ristic Studies, and the YouTube video is The Magic Art of Seb McKinnon, and his art is fucking great. I actually do have his art on my wall. I have like a little, like a scroll thing of one of his art pieces that really stood out to me whenever I saw it. I was like, this is good shit.
Which card
it's
is it
kind of
based on?
morbid.
Is it the
it's-
goat?
No, it's based off of some shitty card that no one ever used, which is unfortunate. So 99% of all Magic art is attached to a card that's shitty that no one will ever use.
Ouch.
Which sucks. But a lot of the art's beautiful, and he's got like a real macabre kind of like morbid. He's like usually making black and white cards, you know what I mean, which are like
Yeah.
the death and the afterlife kind of colors. Obviously.
Do they do a lot of full art Magic cards?
They used to not, but they do shit tons now. Like Magic cards hardly look like Magic cards sometimes anymore. There's some craziness going on.
Like I haven't
But
been
I
keeping
like
up
it
with
'cause I like
Magic.
the art.
Yeah, but Pokemon does full art cards, and I really like the full art ones.
Like I have a forest which is just a basic land, like just they are like you can spend a penny and get 15 of them at your local card store just to
Yeah.
forests, right? I have a full art forest that's like a limited run set, and it's like $55, just a full art foil forest. It's so expensive. That's what they used to be. They used to be really rare things, to see, like
Yeah.
full art cards with like no description, no text box, no nothing. It's just art, beautiful.
Hey, you should know what a forest does at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, most basic lands just don't have any words on it. Like if you look at old, like from like the first like 12, like 7 core sets, which is not what they were called back then anyway. They did have the lands did have tap add white for like a plains, you know what I mean? Just so new people could learn. But now
Yeah.
it's just the basic mechanics of the game, so that you just are assumed to know what they do.
Okay, back to Vermintide. So, base mechanics of the game, like if we were just going to talk about the gameplay loop, you drop in with your group, you kill rats, you collect some books, you finish the level, you get loot, and you level up. When you say that would get kind of boring, Nave,
It could.
well, don't worry, they shake it up for you. So you're not just replaying those same levels. Because this game actually has different like weather effects, which we were very surprising. We were asking like, is this the right level? Because we dropped into a level and it's like nighttime, and we're like, this was not nighttime last time before we lost.
It was like bright ass daylight, sun in your face, running out of the forest. You're like blinded by metal and stuff. And then the next time, after we fail, we play that same level, and it's dark as shit.
And I get a lot of the Left 4 Dead levels. Like I know we're going to talk about Left 4 Dead a lot, probably in any game that's based on their central gameplay. But in Left 4 Dead, the levels were pretty set out. Like it was mostly nighttime. It was like a few rainy levels, but it really came down to like, oh, it's just the same level, and maybe the monster spawns will be a little different, or the horde spawns. In this one, it was like different item placements, different what's it called, like different rain effects, which really kind of affected how you played because it would make the whole level look a little bit different. And so you'd be running through it and like, where was that last tome at?
What's really cool is like whenever you do like the quick play and they give you just random maps, like you were doing quick play before, right? Well,
Yeah.
I actually didn't do quick play, so I don't know. But in that new game mode, you go through portions of different maps, like 8 or 9 of them in like a
Oh,
board game
expeditions.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, multiple times, like especially at the beginning, I was like, did they make maps specifically for this game mode? Because if so, that's ridiculous. But I'm pretty sure they were just the same maps, just with different lighting and like weather effects going on around me that I didn't off of the top of my head realize. And also I think we were starting and ending in different places also, so
Yeah.
most of the maps anyways we didn't have to play multiple times, so I only have memory of going through once. It was close to the end when we unlocked the challenger difficulty that we really started suffering, but we can talk about that in a minute.
So, well, we can talk about that right now. So, in Left 4 Dead, I don't remember the difficulties, but there was like realistic, I think was like the max difficulty. Then I think it was like veteran. No, it was expert, then veteran, right? And then normal and easy, maybe.
I don't remember.
I remember we would usually play on like expert, we want a real challenge, and then veteran, we do like our normal, like heroic. And we would sometimes die on veteran, and it was usually about 50-50 we'd make it through on expert whenever we play like Shadow in the Gang. And we were like, okay, cool, we're playing a game, there's a challenge. In this one, we would play on, like, there's beginner baby difficulty, which is literally the lowest tier. Like, I don't even know if you could lose on beginner with how easy it is.
Yeah.
And then there's normal, which is what we ended up playing on through most of the game, where they are showering you in healing items. And the enemies are not that bad, and you're pretty dang strong. And we're like, well, we're probably never going to lose on this difficulty. And then there's the next difficulty up, I guess the heroic difficulty. This was the one I wanted to play on because it was actually a bit of a challenge. But Nate, how many levels do you think we beat on the challenging difficulty? Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, we're never able to complete one.
99% of every single challenger run ended within the first 1/8 of the level. We could
except for one run. on the final level of the game.
But when we got to the end boss, we could not do damage to him. We could not. It was like ridiculously hard.
Now, Nave, do you think we are bad at games?
No, I think we're pretty fucking awesome at games, actually. It would be
Wow.
sad if we did a. Well, I guess you could make a podcast about specifically being bad at games. That sounds like fun, actually. I would listen to that maybe. But it would be sad if
Well,
we did this and we're
I
so.
appreciate your gauge of our skill. That is very positive of you. Now, what do you think was holding us back from completing those levels on challenging?
The RNG is never in your favor. And it's like it doesn't even feel like RNG. It feels like the game is purposefully like killing, like specifically killing you. Like it's like, and you die now. You know what I mean? You know how you get to like the end of Mortal Kombat and you fight Shao Kahn, and it's just like I'm just gonna have to keep fighting this guy until the game goes, well, I guess I can let you win now after 76 matches. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like when you're playing on Challenger. But specifically though, it's probably just the damage caps of all of our levels or all of our
All
weapons.
right, that's exactly what I was waiting on. Is the gear combined with like the talent trees? Because like I don't know if you read the other like the talents that you got farther down, but it was like instant revives if you use your special near a down teammate. Like you didn't even have to hold X to revive them. You just use your special and they would automatically pick them up. It's pretty
My
strong.
character I was playing with the Shade Carillion version, she was very selfish. So I had stuff like do tons of damage and then you do more damage and you're fast, or you get health and then when you get health you become invisible, and then when you're backstabbing you hurt people worse. So that's why it's like there's a lot of invisibility stuff going on so that you can get around to the back. It's like everything of mine was like that. It was just percentages, really, crit chances.
Yeah. But after each round, we would get a drop based on how we did in that level. How many library books did we return? How many loot boxes we picked up along the way? We would get upgraded gear, and that would raise our overall power level and letting us do more damage and have more health and whatnot and different little abilities. And I feel like that was holding us back because I wanted the arcade Left 4 Dead Halo heroic run at least. Like I'm not going to try to do legendary on a game we barely played, but I at least want heroic difficulty.
That was one of the things that I praise Left 4 Dead for, like constantly, is that it's so simplistic and it's so easily readable. Like you shoot a person in the head and their head blows off no matter what difficulty you're on, right? The only thing that changes really in Left 4 Dead is I think that I think the special infected do have a little bit more health. Like they get shot a little bit more, especially the tank.
Oh
But
yeah,
the
especially
thing
tanks.
is that it gives you a lot less resources. It like definitely changes the way the AI behaves. So or like what is it, the librarian? What the fuck do we call
Yes.
it? The guy, the
The
AI that
director.
yeah, it's the librarian in this game clearly because she wants all her books back, right?
Yeah, you
But
gotta get those books.
oh god, what was I saying? The game itself taking your weapon loot into account for the amount of damage you're doing never really seemed to matter with most of the mobs. But whenever you ended up fighting special infected, there were times where I would empty a full quiver of headshots on a rattling gunner and he would still be alive, and I'm just like, well, I don't know what to do. I hope someone else can take care of that because I used my ability. I can't go invisible. It's like they would just tank your fucking damage, which
Yeah,
is
I
kind of
remember at one
disheartening.
point. Yeah, it definitely is because at one point you were up on like a hill and there was a rat flamer, which is a rat with a flamethrower for listeners at home, and he knocked you down. And I'm like, that's okay, I'll run up and I'll get him because these rats are pretty soft boys. You just give them a couple whacks and they usually die. Well, he was a special infected rat flamer. I ran up there, gave him a full combo, whack, 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 Dante flip, backflip, all that stuff, and he lived and just turned his flamethrower on me and took me down too. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't do enough damage. And then we lost that run.
Yeah, he not only killed you, but killed the next guy trying to fucking revive you too. And of
Yeah.
course the bot was already dead somewhere. But which the bot
So-
AI, it's so bipolar. Like, wouldn't you say? Like
Yeah, it's either really good or eating glue.
you want to. So specifically, there are spots in this game where the AI will get caught in a loop and just keep jumping to its death, even though there is a path to get away from that ledge. It will just jump and right off the cliff for some reason, and I have no idea why. and then you just have to leave it behind. And I'm pretty sure there is a thing where, because if you jump off a cliff, you just magnetize onto the cliff. It's not like Left 4 Dead, thank God, but you just magnetize back onto the cliff and then latch on, and you have to have someone to help you get picked up. But if you walk off away from an AI who's hanging off a ledge, at least this happened once. The one time that we just walked off and away from him because he wouldn't fix himself, he just teleported back to us. And I was like, oh, we didn't even have to rescue his dead body. So maybe they built that in as a, like, if the AI is hanging off a ledge and the people leave him, then clearly he's glitched. Just teleport him away
Yeah.
so that he's not dead anymore. Like, that's kind of interesting. If that's an interesting workaround. I wish
Yeah,
we
that's
knew
one way to
before.
fix it. So
Because this
one
game
thing,
never stops spawning people. So if you're trying to get that guy off of that ledge, and you're like constantly fighting while that's going on also. So sometimes it's just terrible.
so not to get too far away from the loot, in this game, there's so many challenges. It has so many carrots on a stick in front of you saying, "Hey man, just play more levels, play as this character, level up, get better gear. Then you can play on higher difficulties." I feel like this is almost the Destiny or the Outriders conundrum again, where I'm just waiting for better drops so I can play at higher difficulties so I can get better drops again.
Well, the problem with the whole loot, like, dictating how much damage you do, is I can only imagine that the loot that we're receiving is not indicative of the effort or work we're putting in. It's just arbitrary, giving
Yep.
us loot based on what our number is right now. So it's like, I'm 420, blaze it, I'm 420 power. I don't,
Yeah.
that was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? But I'm 420 power, and so it's giving me 421 weapons, and like slowly, so it's like you'll never be 200 power and then get carried through a champion level, just being dead the whole time basically, and then, which I don't even think you can do because I think there's a power cap. But if you get carried through a higher difficulty and then you're at 200 power and then all of a sudden you've gotten 400 power gear, I don't think that's possible. I think you will get 202, 203. So it's just an incremental grind towards being able to survive 3 hits from a special infected on champion difficulty. I keep calling them special infected. You're just gonna have to auto translate
Yeah.
that in your heads, listeners. Sorry.
All right.
Did I make a complete point? Did I round it out, or did I just stop halfway through
Yeah,
that?
I think you pretty much highlighted, like, this has been a reoccurring complaint, at least of mine, in every looter shooter we've done so far. Basically, I want more shooter and less looter in my games because it feels like it's just a slow drip of higher numbers, and the drip is too slow for me.
Yeah, and in this game in particular, it's really just like you have 3 or 4 different variants of weapons. Like I had double I had like, I think in the melee area you have like 8 or 9 probably. But like I had like double daggers, single dagger, double sword, single sword, sword and dagger, spear, halberd looking thing, and then that was it. And then so like the dwarf is running around with like a hammer and a flail and a whatchamacallit, whatever, I can't think of any more weapons. Help me. It doesn't matter.
Square, circle,
Yeah, the
triangle.
triangle, the
Yep.
triangle that you ring the dinner bell. Okay. But yeah, you have a lot of variants in weapons, but the thing is that you're never going to want to use anything that isn't the highest number that you have. And I think in the end game, once you start getting like the high stuff, you, because there's a lot of crafting and stuff. Obviously, there's like a million different crafting
Resources and
resources and stuff that you can,
attributes.
so you are able to increase the rarity of items and like change their because each weapon will just have an arbitrary like statistic on it. It's like 20% extra crit damage and stuff like that. But you can re-roll that stuff, which that's how I got the achievement. I did get that achievement because I realized, I was like, oh wait, I can just get a blue necklace. And because that's the thing,
Upgrade it level on level. Yeah.
the loot would never, there's an achievement for getting exotic on each for each slot. We went the whole game, I never got one single necklace, but I have like 35 bows and 27 swords and 85 trinkets. Like, I'm constantly getting exotics for everything else. But right at the end I realized, oh, I can just upgrade this necklace, can't I? And I got the achievement immediately because I'm an idiot. But I think they're expecting you to do that and like indulge in the microtransactions, of which there are cosmetics and stuff like that. Which the game on Game Pass, I don't mind too much, but it's not going to be on Game Pass any longer, so it's like a little bit more annoying that they're nickel and diming you like that. There are daily and weekly challenges that give you the shillings. Those are the
Primary currency.
yeah, that's the microtransaction money. Um, so that you can get the cosmetics, or you can just buy them outright, because they're not loot boxes or anything. They're not like fucking super insidious. So it's like I got like a little skull half mask on my elf, and I'm like, this looks cool. Like I just kind of saved up my shillings as we played, and I got enough to get that mask. Just whatever. You can get like different cosmetics for your weapons and stuff too, which is like I don't even understand. Like it's like they all look the same. I don't
I
understand.
know, but maybe you say they all look the same, but literally I complained about that in the Outriders, I think, where I was like, this gear doesn't look cool, but it just has better numbers.
Yeah. Well, it's also like because you bought the sword or whatever, and it's called an illusion, and I think
Yeah, I
you
saw
put
it.
it
The
on
illusion
weapons.
is
So
the name
it's
of the
like,
skin.
what is it called in World of Warcraft that we
Transmogging.
transmogging? Yeah, that's what we complained about in Outriders, that we couldn't do that because we always look like a fucking doofus.
Yeah, we look terrible. All right.
What are we talking about?
We've been going on for a minute. Is there anything you want to hit on before we go to our final reviews?
We're on the final reviews. How much did we talk? Did we talk about the whole game?
I think we covered a lot of it as far as a pretty good personal
What was your favorite level?
favorite level. Against the grain. Had to
The
be,
one that we struggled on the most?
Yeah.
Is that why you like that?
Okay, it was a funny level. Spoiler warning for y'all. At one point, you go up to a giant barn and you're like, we got to get through the barn. Find the key. And you find the key. It's laying right next to the locked barn that has a big lock on it. And you're like, oh, here's the key. When you go over to use the key, the barn door burst open. A giant rat ogre climbs out. And he's like, "Rah!" So you didn't even get to use the key.
Or it's like a freaking Cthulhu monster.
Oh yeah, I forgot. It was either a Cthulhu monster or a troll or something.
That's
like
the
it was
cool
always
thing.
a giant.
There's so much variance in this game that even the tank is a variant of, like, there are multiple variants of tank.
Yeah,
It's like that's so, and they all each have their own like strategy to beat them. It's really fucking cool.
which I bet there's even like a Beastman variant that we never saw.
It was
with
the Minotaur.
Yeah, was it a giant Minotaur?
Yeah, it was a
Did we
giant
fight
Minotaur.
him? I don't
Yeah,
remember
and
that.
it had a health bar. I killed the shit out of it.
Oh, okay.
In that game mode, you can slowly get like different boons and stuff. It's basically Hades, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's like
There's
that.
a roguelike mini-game expedition mode in this game that already has so many levels. Like, you get your money's worth out of this game. That's for sure.
Yeah, and like when you're playing through that game mode, you get your own little like currency to use inside of that game mode, and you can it slowly upgrade your weapon to different weapons and all kinds of stuff and get different boons. Well, my character as an assassin, I got all of these different crit and backstab and like crazy shit going on. So in the end game, I was like killing bosses in like 5 or 6 hits. Like I was like ridiculously strong if I got behind them. And there are potions that make you invisible. So like my character had an ability that made her invisible, but the moment I attacked, I became uninvisible, which usually resulted in the big monster turning around and smacking me across the fucking universe. But when you drink that invisibility potion that's exclusive to that game mode, you just stay invisible for like 15 seconds, and that is long enough for me to fucking kill a boss. Like I was just massacring the fucking things, because I think I remember you going, "Oh, it's a Minotaur," and I'm like already like almost killed it. I don't even think you did. You even see the health bar? The boss
Probably
health
not.
bar?
I probably just thought it was like an extra large enemy,
Yeah, I don't know. But,
like an elite Minotaur or a special infected Minotaur.
it makes me wonder if there's another one, but I don't think so. Because were there even special enemies in that game mode that weren't rats and chaos dudes?
I'm not really sure. I feel like there was a lot of rattling guns we fought at one point.
Yeah,
We
well,
got,
I meant
3
like
in a row.
besides like those. Like I meant, was there like a
Oh,
person?
like separate from the game. I don't know. Maybe in the actual DLC that the Beastmen are from, because I think some of the levels we played through were actually DLC like clips. Because
Oh,
this
maybe.
game is like 72 gigs, which is insanely big. But it turns out we are downloading all the DLCs when we do that.
Yeah,
So I
because
think-
it's like a a 8 megabyte download whenever you buy a DLC because it's
Of
already
course.
on the fucking
Yeah.
thing.
So I think whenever we were playing through the expedition, we were getting like clips of the DLC, which is always nice.
Yeah, it makes me sad a little bit that this is leaving Game Pass. Like I was saying multiple times, I was like, I might buy this game and just play it, have it just as a comfort game, you know, like as my Destiny 2, like some people are doing. One of my favorite levels though was in that the 3 chapter episode DLC thing.
Oh yeah,
Whenever
Spooky
you
Castle.
when you get to the spooky castle, you like literally knock on the door and the door opens up a little bit and then a Scooby-Doo trap door opens up underneath us and we fall down into the dungeon. Like literal Scooby-Doo. That's the level I was talking about. Like this makes me want to watch Scooby-Doo. You know what I mean? Because it's
Yeah.
like it made us laugh because you were like, "Oh my god, the door's opening slowly." And then when we fell, we just started laughing. We couldn't help it. It was so goofy. It's just like the barn door level. It just it's like you've done this a million times. Get the thing, unlock the door with it, or press the lever. Now go through the door that opened. You know, but then it's
Yeah.
like subverts your expectations a little bit. Gets a laugh out of you.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to hit before we go to final reviews?
We didn't talk about Fat Witch Person, Poop Tornado.
Yeah.
There's Poop
I don't know,
Tornado
do you-
Person. That's
There's
fucking
not-
freaky because they teleport around and then they do the fucking Ermac special move where that's from
They
Mortal
suck
Kombat.
out your soul.
Yeah, well, it's like they teleport grabs you and pulls you towards them and then starts sucking your soul out. Yeah, it's like they're pretty scary enemies because they always poop tornado you. The reason why I say poop tornado, it's literally just a tornado that's super green and gross looking. It kind
Yeah,
of looks like
and it poisons you.
yeah,
while
it
you're
just
in it.
picks you up and you're stuck in it for like 10 seconds and then it throws you in a random direction. It's very obnoxious and you can get hit by it multiple times. So anyway, yeah, there's a lot of different variants in the game. There's like different routes you can take inside of the maps. Like the map design itself is fucking sweet. We didn't talk about the time you got lost.
All right. You want to tell the story from your point of view?
Well, so we had a rando in our game who was playing as Victor, and we're just kind of marching forward, just kind of minding our own business, which I had this horrible habit of just not paying attention to where my team was because I assumed we were all just walking in the same direction, and I'd turn around and be like, oh my god, I'm alone by myself. Which this game is a lot more lenient than Left 4 Dead with that stuff. You do not get grabbed as soon as you fucking leave. Me and Victor are walking, and we drop down like 3 or 4 different points of no returns, and he's like, group up, like saying group up over and over again in the little quick chat, and I'm like, where is Tuv? And you're this tiny little green outline far off in the distance, probably at the beginning of the map. I'm like, how? I don't even understand how you got so far back, because there's so many different spots where you drop down a ledge and you're like, all right, well, not going back that way anymore.
Yeah, points of no return.
But we were just waiting for you, and you're like, all right, I think I know the way. And you were getting closer, and I would walk around just shooting walls and stuff, and then I'd turn around, and you would be a tiny dot again. And I'm like, how are you getting so far away from us? What was going on in your eyes?
Well, I mean, first off, we had a very heroic moment where we ran into this large open room where it's like, save the prisoners. But first we had to run up like an altar and fight a giant. And the music like swelled, and I instantly thought of Monkey Flip. Because like the music was just getting so like fever pitched, and I'm like, okay, for listeners at home, Nate, put this in the thing. Monkey Flip is a slow motion shot of a monkey doing a backflip, and then it lands.
And it's like the music's like, ah, ah! It's really ridiculous.
I thought it was so funny. And then I'm like, oh man, I got to share this with Nave, because I'm like, yo man, you know Monkey Flip? And you're like, no, I don't know Monkey Flip. And I'm like, let me enlighten you, brother.
Dude, the best
then-
part is that when you were saying that, Jana was right next to you, and she's like, what the hell is Monkey Flip? And then you showed her, and I heard the the freaking through the microphone, and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be really stupid, isn't it? Because you didn't elaborate at all. You're just like, Monkey Flip? And I'm like, no. Okay, sending it.
All right. But yeah, and so then I stopped and watched a compilation of monkey flips, because there's not just one monkey flip, it's multiple monkey flips, because monkeys just do that. I don't know why. And then people put music over the top of it.
Fucking rad.
But then I look up, and it's just me and the dwarf standing there. And I'm like, where'd they go? And the dwarf is like just staring at me, being a droid. And I'm like, I guess I'll find my own way.
That's
And I
one of the
proceeded
best
to not
parts
find
about
my own
the
way.
that's one of the best parts about the AI is that that's the smart thing is that if there is someone who's isolated, they usually will follow the isolated
Yeah.
person, which is nice. Except in this moment where
Yeah,
you cannot die.
I was like, all right, I'll just kill myself. I jump off a cliff. The droid picks me back up. But then you were like, all right, we're just going to go on without you. And I'm like, go for it. Then the droid teleported to you guys. And then I was all alone. And I'm like, finally, I can die.
And then, but the best part was is that the droid was super low, because usually the AI will prioritize giving the players the health and the weapon and like the bombs and the potions and
Yeah.
stuff, which is also super nice. It's super rad. But he was super low because of that, and so as soon as we started the fight, he died instantly, and he was gray screened apparently. Because in this game, if you go down 3 times or 2 times, you'll die the next time you go down, kind of like in Left 4 Dead, unless you're on champion difficulty, in which case it's twice, which is even worse. Like the second time you go down, it's death. It's horrible,
Yeah.
but which made the game mode even more hard. Yeah, the map design, besides that one time, we were talking about how good it was because there were like branching paths that always ended up like conglomerating in one little coagulating, and I needed not
Converging.
gross converging. There it is. I'm like, why am I thinking of like horrible heart disease terms? What's happening right now? But they would all just converge into one little area. So we would constantly be splitting up, gang, and looking for clues. And then we would just end up meeting together. And it was never like we had to drop down in different areas. There were some parts that were like that were scary. But usually we would be able to just backtrack real quick and go and save each other. So there was never really like a horrible outcome if we decided to spread out. And usually it ended up in us going, oh, there's a health potion over here, or ammo or something, which as we said in the Left 4 Dead game, it's very similar here. Everything's constantly shifting around, and like there are a lot of different little spots where they can hide ammo and weapons and stuff. So not weapons, but bombs and like potions. So like little nooks and crannies, and I got really good at like spotting them from far away. I pride myself in how much I found in our different campaigns. I was constantly finding shit, and you can ping it, and everyone can see. It's very nice.
All right. Now we have been going for a minute and we should hit the final reviews. But let's take a quick break.
This is where we play the music.
What's going on? My name is Wackops, and I host a weekly video games and entertainment podcast called Hardcore Casual. Hardcore Casual is a space where we cover the week's hottest and most talked about topics in gaming, tech, film, TV, sports, and all avenues of the entertainment landscape. Each week, we choose one story to dissect in greater detail, which we call the trigger warning topic of the week. As your impassioned host, I will be sure to bring you a fresh perspective on the ever-expanding gaming industry, both as a gamer, creator, and person of color. Find us on Twitter and Instagram at WhackOps. New episodes every Friday available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you enjoy podcasts. Hardcore Casual, accessible conversations by multifaceted people around complex topics. Have fun, be cool, and stay dangerous.
And we're back. All right, Nave. So in a game about collecting books and killing rats, what is your opinion on Vermintide 2?
It's really good. I didn't know Tencent had. Did they buy them out completely, 100%?
No, not 100%. Like 30% of the total stock or whatever it is, or business.
Okay. That's not that bad. I don't know. I was really caught out of left field by that one. I didn't realize that this was another episode where we had to talk about those guys. It's really good. Buy the game. It's not on Game Pass anymore, so real sad. But it's not that expensive. I think it's like $30 for the base edition or something like that. The game goes on sale pretty often as well. The player base is there. I don't know if they have cross-play. I don't think they do, unfortunately. So if you want to buy it, the best place to play this probably is on PC. But it is still a really good console game on PlayStation and Xbox, where the controls are it controls on a gamepad very well, very smoothly. I didn't have to like really edit anything. The only thing we went into the options and edited was there are like player outlines when they're on the other side of walls, and you can turn that on so that it's on all the time, and that's very useful because this game is cluttered whenever you're in the middle of a war zone.
A lot of rat giblets.
The game is fucking beautiful. The graphics are amazing. I'm playing on the Series X, so I don't know how it looks on the original Xbox. It's been a while. I played it originally on my shitty PC, and then I bought it on or not bought it, but played it on Game Pass on my One X before as well. I don't know how it looks on the original Xbox One, but on the Series X, it's running buttery smooth. There's awesome reflections, like the ground, like water, mud, anything like that. The light going through trees when you're going through forests, it looks fucking great. I was like constantly taking screenshots. I took a screenshot of the spooky skeleton castle that we went into in the DLC. Whenever you first see it, you walk around a corner and it's there in the distance, and you literally went, "I really hope we go there." And I was like,
we
"I
better
think
go
that's where
there."
we're going. But yeah, the game is fast, frantic, kinetic, something like that. All of those buzzwords that reviewers say sometimes, I don't know, but it's definitely worth a co-op play. If you're looking for a game to sit down and play with your pals, there's a lot of replay value. There's so much content that it's a little hard to want to replay it after like us playing. We beat the game in like 3 sittings, so there's so much content that like we feel a little fatigued. But like halfway through the game, I was like, I'm definitely gonna play this when we're done playing it for the podcast. And then by the end of it, I was like, whew, probably give this game a few weeks. You know what I mean?
Need to cool
But,
down.
It's very fun, and there's multiple different characters who each have multiple different classes. Luckily, you don't have to level up each class. You just level up the character, and then their level carries over through each of the classes, which is very nice because they could have been real dick shitheads about that. Let me see what else you got. It's about it. Banter's funny. I said the game looks good. I think I'm done. Play the game.
All right, Nave.
I'm sure I'll interrupt you if I
That's
think of
pretty
anything else.
well said. Yeah, go for it. Feel free to jump in. And one discussion point I did want to hit on earlier that I completely forgot about and did not put in the notes. Actually, there's 2 now that I think about it. This is one for I'll say this one for a little bit later. But this other one. We have covered multiple games that I would describe as lifestyle games. Games that you come home, you log in, your Destinies, your Outriders, and now your Vermintides. You log in and you do your dailies, you meet up with your friends. And one thing we always say in the intro is like, is this something better off playing solo? I could see myself logging in playing this game solo. Whereas I can say that through most of our games we played on this for this pod. Like any of the other ones
on this earth.
Yeah, in this earth.
Oh my god. Let's tone it down.
But we would always have our party open because we wanted people that weren't bots to join us and help us beat the harder difficulties. And I remember we had one guy 2 days in a row join us who was just solo queuing quick matches and ended up in our game. And he was really good, the dwarf.
I actually think he changed. I think he was a dwarf once and he was someone else the other time. But he was it was the same name. I can't remember his name though.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. But to think about it, that guy, he was out there, like he was just solo queuing and he was playing this game every day.
You think he was a kid just with nothing else to do?
Maybe. Probably.
Both of his characters were high level, and he had like skins for both of them too. Especially the dwarf. I remember the dwarf whenever he was playing that, he was blowing people away. Like I was like, oh my god. He was like 2-shotting boss monsters and shit. I was like, oh my goodness.
So these lifestyle games, I almost feel like it's a little problematic for us to try to do a full review for them. Like it almost goes into like the game journalism type thing, where how can you put out a review for a game that either hasn't been released yet, so you're not experiencing the full online play, or is a game you're meant to be playing for the next 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of like reviewing OG Destiny and then comparing it to Destiny when the Taken King came out. Like completely different fucking games almost.
Yeah. I could see this game being a good lifestyle game to play, where you log in, do your dailies and whatnot. But as for our experience, which was 3 days of at least probably like 5 hours of game time each day, which is pretty good. At least somewhere around there, maybe less. But we cleaned through the whole game, and that was with multiple failures because I would not give up on playing on championship difficulty or whatever.
Yeah, it seemed like we were doing something wrong when we would lose. Like we would lose dramatically, and I would be like, how could we have improved on that?
Yeah, like we would discuss, like we are always looking to improve our game. Like we're always like, okay, Nave, what did we do wrong there? And he'd be like, I guess we just didn't do enough damage.
It was like when you're losing a football game and then halftime comes, the coach you are on the locker room and everyone's just silent looking down like they don't know what to do. It's just like hope is lost. Hope is lost on championship difficulty.
Yeah. But overall, I had a great time playing this game. I would play more. Like if we had I'm not going to buy the DLC because for one, I don't own the game now that it's going off Game Pass. And two, I got so many other games to play. I'm not going to buy a game that came out back in 2018 when the new one's going to be coming out next year.
What is impressive about this game though is the DLC is not done. Like they're still releasing shit and like updating the shit out of this game.
It's expected DLC support up to 2023. So past the release of their next game, they plan to keep this game going.
Which is neat, probably because since it's like if it was Vermintide 3, it wouldn't be like that way, I think. But since it's like 40K, it's gonna be like a separation there, kind of like how Call of Duty is, like with the Modern Warfare. Then whatever the fuck they do after that, I don't know.
Not sure.
I'm so far removed from Call of Duty.
But anyways, recommend the game. Get some boys together, go kill some rats, have a lot of fun. All right, Nave. We actually got some mailer feedback in.
Perfect.
And I wanted to take this point to bring up our other discussion that we did not include in the pod notes. So in the game, oftentimes your characters would find health potions, which are glowing bottles of fluid laying on the ground, and they would comment on the flavor of each potion. So Nate, what do you think a health potion tastes like?
Oh, this is like, I think we might have talked about this also, probably offhand, because in my head I already had a made up image. It's like, how in restaurants they have the soda machine, and so it's basically just like carbonated water and then a bag of syrup. So I assume it tastes like this. It tastes like NyQuil mixed with a bag of Mountain Dew syrup, like just combined into a little potion bottle. I assume like a real viscous liquid, like something that you feel going down your throat, and it just has both of those tastes together. That's what I imagine.
That reminds me when I was working in the movie theater. Like you change out those bags. Like you used to work at Sonic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like it comes in a big cardboard box. You throw it up on the rack. You rip open the box. You grab the little like sack nipple thing, right? Then you pop that off, and then you jam the hose on it, right?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. One day I threw the cherry limeade up on like the top rack, ripped off the nipple, and took the whole front of the bag with it. And so then I just launched cherry limeade all down the whole soda rack, all down me, all over the floor, and it smelled delicious. Like it was probably like it was like one of the strongest smells I've ever smelled, with that cherry syrup just gushing all over the back of the movie theater floor. Good times.
I did something similar to that when I worked at Sonic as a car hop. I used to skate. I used to have roller skates on.
You were a skater? You never told me that part.
Yeah, well, it's because it's embarrassing. But yeah, I was a cute young lad, and they wanted me out there being cute.
Oh, did you wear your short shorts too?
No, I don't. If it weren't for me being a mailman, I'd never wear shorts. But I don't want to die of heat exhaustion, so I have to wear shorts.
Of course.
Sometimes if they were low on because like you would have like a row of 4, and then there'd be 4 columns, right? So there'd be a bunch of them. Well, if I had to refill one and it was down low, I would just use my skate and I would kick it open. And one time I punctured the bag, but I punctured it on the top, so we just threw the box away. And they were like, "Don't do that. What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. I didn't want to do this anyway. Why don't you do it and show me how it's done?" which, my manager back then was more than happy to do. He would definitely show you how it's done. But yeah, I didn't get to smell it though. I have really bad allergies. That's why my nose is so nasally. And so I can hardly ever smell. Like I can only smell maybe like 10% of my life, like of any given time. Not
I
counting
also
sleeping.
smell bad, or have a bad sense of smell.
Rephrase that.
All right. So my thought for health potions is definitely like maybe half-formed Jello almost, like before it's set all the way, and it's still like a little sloshy, and there's like maybe little chunks, little strings of texture in it, some bubbles. So I brought this up because listeners at home, we're always down for some feedback. So if you got any comments or emails, let us know what you think health potions taste like.
Or don't, because it
Yeah.
probably is just going to make me nauseous.
Which we have some mailer feedback this week, Nave.
Great. Was that not mailer feedback?
Well, that was us prompting for more mailer feedback. Now we can read the actual mailer feedback we did get. So from 1 hour, 1 decision, 5 stars on the Quake episode, he says, if you're talking about spoilers, would be awesome if you put that in the description.
Well,
So,
so we
Nave.
had a discussion about this because this is one of the many podcasts that I interact with on Twitter, and he was mostly talking. So it wasn't about the Quake game itself. We talked about Psychonauts 2 right at the top, and you said spoiler alert for anyone playing Psychonauts, and then we proceeded to never spoil the game. We just said spoiler alert. So he just kind of skipped ahead until we weren't talking about Psychonauts anymore, assuming we were going to talk about spoilers. And so whenever he went back and listened to it, he was like, oh, well, but it was the spoiler alert at the beginning because we were paranoid about people getting upset about spoilers that we ended up upsetting. I can't remember which one is running because that review was on Good Pods, which is a pretty cool little podcast service.
As far as spoilers go, we are pretty much spoiler cowboys. Half the time we'll do a warning, and half the time we will completely forget and spoil everything.
It's hard when you get in the moment and you start talking about, because I don't know if you guys have noticed 22 episodes in, but 40% of our interaction, me and Phillip, is through references to other things. It's like, that is what I mean, just so that we can get the visual going, that which may or may not be great, but it's always those are the spoilers I'm most afraid of, because those come from our subconscious. Like, we're not like trying, it's not like we're talking, like we're going to talk about Final Fantasy 13 and we try to tiptoe around. Like, we're getting way better. At the beginning we were horrible about it, but we kind of tiptoe around, and occasionally we just say something that is too much. But
All right,
which, by the way, I spoiled more Yakuza 6 for myself. So.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, I was trying to show Maddie a YouTube video of a cutscene, and I typed in a character's name. I was like, Yakuza 6, I typed in the character's name, and it said death. And I said, oh.
Nave.
Yeah, and so I was like, fuck. Okay, well, that hurt me a little bit.
Thanks, 1 hour, 1 decision pod. We will try to be better.
They're pretty good too. Their whole podcast is about Game Pass, and I think they hit the surprise me button, and then they play the game for 1 hour and then talk about it. So it's like a 30-minute
that's interesting.
podcast.
That's like a speed run.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Or not speed runs, but it's like speed whatever.
I think they played like Madden recently, and played because it was like Madden's on there, so that's what popped up on. They played like what is it? Hello Neighbor, and they're like, I don't like this game. And I don't think you're supposed to like play this game for 1 hour and make a decision. Like, I don't think that's what this game's about. I'm excited for whenever they hit like a Yakuza or something. I don't know if they already did, but they are not going to get any gameplay really. They're going to get an hour
just cutscenes,
and they're just going to know like a bunch of different Japanese names, and that's all they know. But
all right, well, next one from our friend Joe, also known as Churcher, one of our Halo boys from back in the day. He said, just finished episode 13, and I think we prompted on that one. That one was the one with Ray on it. And I said, hey, like when Ray had to leave, we're like, do you guys like the guest episodes, or, you prefer the solo ones? And he said, definitely love when y'all have guests on the pod. Keep up the good work. Well, we will, Joe. Thank you.
We will try.
You want to read the next one?
So the name is down here. Okay,
Yes.
so this is from the Cake Daddy via Apple Podcasts from the United States of America. Get doxed. It says Excelsior, 5 stars. Great guys with an even better sense of humor, friendship, ampersand. who truly, I couldn't help myself. Who truly enjoy co-op gaming, especially with each other. Don't take that out of context. So I love it whenever like formatting issues happen, and so I think he just put an ampersand there, and it says there is an ampersand, and then it says amp semicolon.
Oh, I thought you were saying amp. Like we have a good sense of humor, friendship, and we're amped. Like like we're full of energy.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't even think about the word amped. I thought you just shortened the word ampersand, and you were just trying to make me upset.
No, but that is probably a formatting thing.
Yeah, it is definitely, because that, like, sometimes, like, if you, like, I don't know, like, what is the arrow that is up? Like, the greater
caret?
than, less than, and then is that what it's called? Caret?
I call it the carrot, where you just point it like in League, someone will say something and you'll just put the carrot and be like, what he said.
That's not what that's called, for sure. That's got to have a name. The thing that's above the 6 key, I'm looking at it. Look at your keyboard. And listeners at home that are at your computer for some reason.
All right, I'm pretty sure that's the carrot. Listeners at home, write in. Okay. Well, thank you, Cake Daddy. We will hope we live up to your 5-star standards.
By the way, I don't know if that joke goes, because on Apple Podcasts it says what country you're from for some reason. I'll cut it out. Doesn't matter. That was a bad joke.
All right. So, Nave, what are we doing for next week?
The Ascent? Or maybe I
don't know. Things are going to be pretty flexible over the next week. We might end up doing PSO2 if we can't get the Ascent done. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're going to be in the middle of like moving halfway across the country, so we'll figure it out. We might have some low quality audio problems because he might have to go through his phone. So I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll try and figure everything out. We were playing the Ascent. We had problems on Philip's Xbox. He's playing on the Xbox OG, like we constantly say. But it's important because sometimes games like this just don't fucking function properly. So he's like crashing every 10 to 30 minutes. And it's like ruining the experience because he also has like really long loading times too. So we will play for an hour and we will only do one mission because we keep fucking having to reload and do that. So he switched over to his PC because this game has crossplay. Hell yeah, it's working. It's loading fast. It's fucking looking good. His controller support works. I don't know if that's true or not, but I assume it is.
It does.
We connected and it's all great. I'm playing on Xbox and he's playing on PC. We might have a little fucking diversion. Going back to 1 hour, one decision, one of them plays on PC and one of them plays on Xbox. So they always like compare what the file size is. I don't know what the inside joke is about that, but there's always a discrepancy in the file sizes. Maybe just curiosity, I don't know, but that's something that they talk about, is the discrepancies between the PC and the Xbox versions, which is cool.
Nice. All right, is there anything you want to tell our listeners before we call it?
Nope. Maybe.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, co-op partners. Maybe next time we can go collect some books and kill some rats. See ya.